Hey guys, so this is a very little makeup video, so I apologize. I didn't even do my eyebrows and they are patchy as hell. That's alright. This video is going to be kind of to help anybody that has purchased an airbrush machine in the past, well, ever. About a month ago, I did a review of my Boleto Studio airbrush machine, and they had a deal. They still have this deal, if anybody's wondering, where their airbrush set it sells for $300 and you can get it for $99. The promo code is xSparkage, and I'll link below to where you can get that and the video talking about it and all the information on that if you're interested. It's a really good deal, and I really like this airbrush machine. Every time I do videos, this is what I'm using, so I totally recommend it. But anyways, I know a lot of you guys took advantage of this promo and you ended up getting an airbrush machine, which is so awesome, and it makes me so excited because I remember when I first used my airbrush machine for the first time and how exciting it was. It was such a new concept. I loved the way that it looked on my face, and it was just really cool, so it makes me excited that other people are finding that. But I've gotten a couple of people who have messaged me because they are not having the results that I had, and that makes me upset because I want, if I'm excited about something and someone else doesn't like it, I'm like, why? Oh, let's try and figure out what's wrong. So I've had a couple of people say that they've used the airbrush machine and the airbrush makeup that comes with it, and it's having the opposite effect. It's making their skin look really dry, it's kind of sinking into fine lines, it's making them look older, and it's not having kind of the youthful, glowy, like perfect flawless skin repertoire that, I hope that was the right word, that airbrush makeup kind of has. Its claim to fame. It wasn't working for them. So I figured that I would do a video that kind of talks about my tips and tricks that I use to kind of get back that youthfulness, because most airbrush makeup, not all of it, but a lot of it is matte. So if you have dry skin or if you're used to using super glowy products, this can definitely be kind of like a, whoa, my face looks flat like a pancake. And I don't want you to feel that way. So I'm going to show you the types of products that I use to kind of bring back that youthfulness and to really make your skin look younger when you're using airbrush makeup. So I hope that this is helpful, and if you have any questions about airbrush makeup that I could do a video on, leave a comment, email me, and I will, I could do a couple more of these videos if you guys like to try and show you how to make the most of your airbrush, because I really love it and I want you to too. So I hope that this is helpful. Alright, so the first thing that you're going to want to do if you're having trouble with your foundation or your airbrush makeup making your face look really dry is to use a moisturizer or a primer that has kind of a luminous element to it, like a glow. So my favorite as far as moisturizers go that I've been using lately is from L'Oreal, and it's Age Perfect Glow Renewal. This particular moisturizer is definitely meant for more mature skin, but I still really like it. It adds a lot of like that like shimmer, not shimmer, but like glow, like iridescence, I guess, which is really nice, but it is kind of a thick moisturizer. So if you're using a thick moisturizer like this, I recommend probably applying it like 20-30 minutes before you do put on your foundation. And there are ones that are less thick if you want something that is a little bit lighter. I know MAC sells something, I think it's called Strobe Liquid, that's really a very thin moisturizer, but it'll give you that same like glow. If you don't want to use a moisturizer, you can always use a primer that has that same kind of aspect. My favorite for that is by Laura Mercier, and it is the Radiance Foundation Primer. And I'm going to apply that right now because I already have my moisturizer on and it's not a shimmery one. I'm not going to apply both because that would be a lot of glow going on. Alright, so that's applied, and you can definitely see the shimmer. It's not even shimmer, I don't know why I keep calling it that, but the glow with that. So I'm going to let that sink in and get into my next tip, which for me, and I'm sure for a lot of you guys, the number one area where I have issues with airbrush makeup sinking into the skin and just really making my face look a lot older and like defining fine lines a lot more than I want is underneath my eyes. So I've tried a lot of different things for this and I've still had issues. So honestly, my best tip is just to skip it and don't apply it underneath your eyes. I use an under eye primer. The one I have is Smashbox Photo Finish Hydrating Under Eye Primer. And if you're going to apply your airbrush makeup underneath your eyes, I definitely recommend applying this regardless because it really does help make a difference. I'm just going to apply that to make sure that this area is nice and smooth. And then I'm just going to do my normal routine that I do if I'm just wearing regular foundation. And the first step with that is a salmon concealer. So I have my Eve Pearl one, and I just put a tiny bit right where the discoloration is. And once that's applied, I'll use my under eye concealer. The one that I'm using today is by Armani, and it is the Maestro Eraser, and it's meant for dark circles. So I'll just apply a little bit, blend it in, and there we go. So now I can start applying my regular airbrush makeup. And when I apply it, I just will kind of do it around the edges of where I put the concealer, but I won't go all up right by my under eye circles. So the reason that I was using a primer that had a lot of luminosity is because airbrush makeup for the most part tends to be pretty matte. The one I'm using today, the Balletto Studio one, is quite matte. So what's going to happen is the foundation primer that had a lot of luminosity is going to be covered with the matte. So you're going to get kind of, you'll see luminosity. It won't be as flat as it would if you use just a regular primer or no primer at all. But it's not going to be as shimmery, as glowy as my face is right now. So this gets me into my next tip. If airbrush makeup is something that's new to you, it's really, really, really easy to end up going overboard and applying way more than you need. Just because it seems like such a small amount when you first start out, just putting a couple of drops and then spraying it all over your face. So make sure when you're applying it to, before you go in and focus in on areas that need a little bit more coverage, to just get an even base of airbrush makeup all over your face. So you would just apply it, just go in small circles and just apply it all over your face so that you get that even coverage. And then you can go in like right here, I need a little bit more coverage. So you can go in after that and apply a little bit more where you need it. But that way you're getting the amount you need all over before you zoom in and focus on an area and then end up applying too much and then it looks cakey and gross. So once you have your airbrush makeup on, you can see, at least for me, I can tell there's a little bit of that luminosity coming through from my foundation primer. So it kind of balances everything out. You have the glowy foundation primer and then the matte foundation, and then it balances it to like a nice level. But if you don't want to use a primer like that or anything, there is other options that you can use for after you apply your airbrush. And one thing that I've noticed a lot of airbrush brands carry is this thing called Lustre Drops. It's just this clear, like it entails, luster that you can put in the airbrush gun and then apply it where you want kind of more of a dewiness to come through. So the way to do this is you do one drop. Trust me on this. If you need another drop later, you can apply it then, but this stuff is very easy to go from like really youthful glow to looking like you just dumped yourself in a fry oiler. So you would just apply it where you kind of want that extra like pop of brightness. So where I'm going to apply it is just a little on my cheekbones, down the bridge of my nose, a little on my forehead, a little on my chin, a little above my lip. And so you can see that shimmer first there. And the cool thing about this is that it looks like it would be wet and sticky, but it's actually completely dry. So I really like that because I don't like that tacky feeling that you can get sometimes from like cream highlighters or liquid foundation and stuff. So that's why I really like airbrush, because it just sinks into your skin. And one drop was just enough. Airbrush companies also sell like pearl highlighters and stuff that you can use kind of the same way that you would with traditional like a powder or something like that. You can always cover your airbrush with powder if you wanted. I like the liquid highlighters because again they just kind of seamlessly melt in with the rest of the foundation. It doesn't look like it's layered, which is always really nice. And so that's about it. Those are my tips for how to make your airbrush makeup look super dewy and soft and lush. I hope this was helpful, and again, if you guys have any airbrush questions, please let me know. I'd love to help and I might do a video on them, so send me an email, leave a comment, however you want to get a hold of me, and I will try and help you out. Bye!